So, apparently, well, we can't really talk about what everyone was talking about on social media last night because an investigation is ongoing. So we don't want to. Well, we can't prejudice.
James doesn't know what it is.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
James doesn't know what it is. No, it's not that Saturday was the thing with Keighley and Rochdale. That was Saturday night. We're talking Sunday night. I'd be surprised that teams would send out players with messages to target certain players if they are coming back from or are known to be carrying an injury.
No, not at all. I saw a tweet about it, but I don't know the context of the tweet.
Well, that's okay because
the
generalisation.
It's better to talk about the principle rather than the exact people involved, because that's under investigation. But that's not unusual.
No, that's what happens.
And I think part of that is down to the team that is playing the injured person, because you're taking a risk, aren't you?
Well, notice somebody's limping and then you target the player.
How many times have we been to Wembley?
Well, Grant Millington's the obvious example.
And an injured player, Gavin Miller.
Yeah.
You know, obviously he was absolutely vitally important to Hull KR at the time, but he was clearly injured, and the decision was made to play him, and he couldn't fulfil the function that they needed him to because he was hamstrung, through no fault of his own. Keith Senior.
I was going to say Keith Senior. It was Cardiff, wasn't it?
Yeah. So is the targeting an injured player bit, I'm not sure is an issue.
Sport.
Especially if they're not doing it illegally, because obviously that's a different issue. Because if you go and hit someone in the head, then that's a different thing.
All you do is you run at somebody if he's injured or their arm's injured or legs injured and they're struggling to tackle, you run at them.
And there is an ethical issue about it, because we have seen historically, like 1958, Alan Prescott broke his arm, stayed on the field, played on the wing.
Well, not really, because the team should just take him off.
I don't think they had the same substitute rules in 1958.
No, I'm talking about.
But he was there to literally lay down in front of somebody because he couldn't. But they didn't run it. Jonathan Thurston in a State of Origin game. Again, you know, his arm had gone, and New South Wales were criticised for not running at him enough, because there's that ethical issue of, well, is that the Corinthian spirit of sport? But I don't think targeting someone with a known weakness is what clubs do every week when they're highlighting what their game plan's going to be. Oh, he can't tackle as well as him, so
everyone for 20
years
years
halfbacks, because halfbacks are notoriously not as good in defence, and then tie them out for when they're in attack. So I just don't get.
People must have been charged with running at Nick Fozzard's arm, because that thing was buggered for years, wasn't it? Dear me. So.
Doesn't wear an armband now though, does he?
Does he not? Well, it's walking around the street. I mean, I feel like I should have one on my ankle.
It was like there all the time, wasn't it? 3 inch deep.
Did you have to inspect it before matches?
Yeah.
Just to make sure it was.
Yeah.
There's no metal underneath there.
But what's stupid is the kit inspection's done like 35 minutes before kick off, so
you could still insert that.
Yeah. Whereas in football they're doing this in the tunnel as they're going out.
When I was, we spoke about my refereeing career on here before. I don't think we have. So
was it ice hockey? Roller hockey.
Skate hockey, yeah. So it's ice hockey, but on inside on non-ice. So you can imagine the amount of equipment a player wears. It's pretty much the same as ice hockey. So you would have to go through every player before every game, checking shoulders. I'm trying to remember it all now from memory, and that's 20 odd years ago. So a bit of padding on the arm. That's nothing.
I can't imagine you were on roller skates.
Well, I wasn't. That's why I was a referee.
Oh, you didn't have to have a roller skate.
No. You can only get to a certain level if you couldn't skate.
You couldn't.
I didn't really enjoy it. I wasn't very. No, I won't say I wasn't very good. I wasn't very confident, but preferred timekeeping. You got paid about $5 or less just to sit on the side and do nothing. So that's
a bit like referee assessment.
Exactly. Yeah. So if we come to this conclusion that players are going to players want to win, get an extra 50 quid in their sock, don't they? Win bonus. How that message is put across to the team, I guess, is the issue. Now, everyone uses Photoshop these days. Some people use it well, some people use it terribly. If you were to put, say, you haven't seen the images, have you?
No.
Right, so if you were, imagine the following scenario. He says, try not to do it in the voice of Edouard Lapaglier. Imagine that you're playing for Pyongyang Pylons. We've just signed you. You're on the Pyongyang squad.
marquee player.
And we're targeting somewhere else in North Korea. I don't know where else there is, apart from Pyongyang. But we're playing our rival team. One of them's got a dodgy shoulder and he used to play for us. And we've put up in the change room, insert name of player here, target him, bully him, do whatever you want throughout the match, and put a picture of his head in a noose. What would...
Yeah, that's probably going a bit too far, isn't it? You know, I think
Pyongyang thrown out of our League One application now.
Yeah, it's probably going a bit too far. But the point's made, isn't it, that you target him in a legal way. I don't see what the issue in principle is, but I think that's going a bit too far.
But how... So what happens next? Because we see so many incidents where people involved in rugby league can certainly be argued to bring the game into disrepute. And nothing happens. This blows up on social media last night, again, not talking about the issues specifically. He says, everyone's commenting without the full facts because we only know one side of the story pretty much. I mean, the fascinating thing about this story is how has that image got to the person who was involved in that image? How did that find its way there? But what can the RFL do to stop things like this? I mean, we can't sit here and go, well, we're shocked this kind of thing happens, because we obviously are aware that, well, it will happen, but where's the line? Where is the line?
I guess you can only deal with what you know about, ultimately.
Have a dressing room inspection, mate. Have a look what's on the wall.
They'll be hiding them. I don't know.
I think that this is one left to investigation, which I suspect might not happen very quickly.
And then when it does, it'll probably just blow over, because it can only go one of two ways.
A written warning, don't behave like that.
Yeah.
And a suspended fine.
Signed-eye ban, as some people are suggesting. It's a tricky one, and again, we go back to a few months ago when the players were up in arms about getting sent off every week and talking about a union. A, what's happened to that? And B, surely this should be something they would be talking about, but can they when they know they go out and do it themselves? The picture's almost irrelevant, isn't it? That's the spice on this issue, but the meat of it is, if players are going out there and targeting is the wrong word, I guess, but it's the right word, isn't it? If they are using what they know to their advantage to...
Well, there was a whole thing in State of Origin 1 that New South Wales were targeting Reece Walsh.
Because what happened there?
Clearly he is their best player, and it ended up with one of the opposing team getting sent off. But I don't think they were charged with deliberately targeting. They were charged with something that they did that was a late high tackle.
It's gone on for years. It goes on every week. Players will target certain players because they know they've got a short fuse, and if you can wind them up and get them to lash out and get them sent off, then so be it.
Whatever happens when the RFL make their decision, the people who are unhappy with it will be unhappy, and the people who are happy with it will be happy, and no, they won't meet. There will be no meeting in the middle, because there never is on these kind of things. But watch this space, or don't. Mark says, just tuned in. Was that basically Phil confirming the Vegas rumours? No, because there's an embargo on it, but it's in the paper today.
All I'm saying is the Australian Associated Press are reporting.
He was in the Guardian last week.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, because he wants to know if he should book his plane tickets now. Oh, so the plane tickets I've booked aren't too mad a gamble then?
No. You'll have a wonderful time.
Worst gambles this year. But Wigan and Whiting can bring out special kits. England will probably have another kit. We haven't had one for a couple of weeks. We now know who England will be playing. England's women will be playing next but not next.
I think we probably do.
Well,
it hasn't been announced yet.
Wales.
I think they'll have qualified for the World Cup recently and will want that fixture.
France.
No. We've just played them.
We've just played them.
The other one.
Any other news? Has anything else happened?
Something happened between Rochdale and Keith.
Yeah, Pride's finished. I'll take my flag down now. What do I do?
Yeah, all the rainbow washing can be washed away.
I've got the new Keithley shirt, right?
Oh, have you?
And I've forgotten to bring it in.
Oh.
What was the feeling like at the
I'll
game
bring it
between the two?
Well, Andy Mazy that is what it's called, isn't it? Yeah,
yeah.
He wasn't there. He was in Dubai, that LGBT-friendly location. He wasn't there, so it would have been interesting. I did take my whistle and red and yellow card just in case it was required in the boardroom. Yeah, I mean that in itself was an interesting debate. I mean, to get the chairman of a club abusing another chairman of another club is an unsavoury
Is it bringing the game into disrepute? Oh, God, please.
Yes.
Well, it is,
Yes.
in my opinion.
It is, but whether that's being investigated, I don't
Well,
know.
it should be, because it does bring the game into disrepute. Yeah, fine, have those conversations, debates, and insult one another if you really want to do behind the scenes, but not on social media for the public's consumption. And as for the crux of the debate, I just thought it was a nonsense what Andy Maisy was talking about, frankly. People are entitled to their opinions. If you don't want to follow their opinions, mute them. Don't follow them on Twitter. Simple as that. And I think what the beauty is of the event is actually when you go to those Pride Games, because I've been to probably 3 or 4 now there, you see young and old, straight and gay and lesbian and transsexuals mixing, and there's no incident whatsoever. People just get on with it, and that's exactly how we should live as a society. And it's just accepting people for who they are, and it's as simple as that. It's not ramming it down your throat, as has been said on social media.
Probably an inappropriate phrase in some ways.
It's often the phrase that's used, and it's been used in our department when I was there. It's fine as long as they don't ram it down my throat. Yeah, okay.
Have we passed the watershed?
No, just stop myself. I'm being good today. Good.
The crux of that to me though is that people don't want to hear it. That's why they use that phrase. And I get the whole argument about it all comes back to if you're good enough, that's all that should matter.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely true. That is true. But we know that the people that were quoted on that in that social media spat that say that's a mask and is not quite the whole story. So, for me, I would say go along, see it for yourself and experience it. And there's no doubt that for a working class northern town, to be so open and welcoming with everybody it's a joy to behold. And I'm not saying that Keith are the only club like that. You can go to lots of other clubs in the sport, but I think I was having a conversation with the RFL's Inclusion League and saying that there are only a limited number of Super League clubs who are putting on diversity fixtures or inclusion fixtures, for example, and I think that's where we lack the impact that we could have as a sport if we can come together and have initiatives, whatever that might be, in relation to inclusion. We've got Tackle the Tough Stuff this week, I think.
Yeah.
And I know that's been in the calendar for a long time. It's been rebadged and stuff.
Why didn't we have
years.
rainbow laces for a while?
We had it 1 year, I think, a few years ago, and it didn't reappear, and the engagement from players was really poor. But again, talking to another member of the inclusion board, go back to the Pride event last year at Manchester with Keighley having a float and Salford had a float, but there was no engagement from the Salford first team, men's team in that event, which was poor, in my opinion. About it's how do we engage people like that. But for me, I think what some clubs miss the point of is if you can engage a new audience, it actually can help your balance sheet.
Yeah.
The example I was talking about was Warrington when they've played Catalans in the past have filled that stand behind the sticks, haven't they, with young people from a background that probably don't normally come to the games, might not come to many more games, but they've been to a game and it might just plant that seed for somebody. And that's all you're doing, you're opening yourself up. So there were a couple of friends of mine that went to the game yesterday that only go to one Keighley home game every year, and that's the Pride game.
But they'll buy a pie and a pint
Yeah,
and a
absolutely.
programme and a...
Exactly. So, and the crowd yesterday was a good crowd. It was
1,600.
1,600, I think. I thought Ryan had said it was about 1,800. But, I don't know what their average crowd is, Keighley, but I know they were playing Rochdale, second and third in the table, and, but a good crowd, nevertheless, for a League One fixture. And if you compare that to probably some of the crowds in the Championship, would be higher, I bet, than some of the Championship crowds. So,
if only we knew what they were.
Yeah. But my point really is that even if you don't see just the human benefit in it, there can actually be a financial benefit in it.
Higher than Swinton, higher than Sheffield, higher than Featherstone, of the ones that were announced.
Yeah.
This is an inclusive podcast, apart from for Gits. Gits are not allowed. They're
Okay.
all banned. They're all banned. I think that's fair, isn't it? I think that's,
Yeah.
we can be inclusive to a point, apart from for Gits. So the Keithley shirt will be here next week, if I don't forget it. It's nice. I like it. It's nice colours.
Yeah, it is.
It says.